Top 10 Best Anime Movies of All Time. Number 10. Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Brave, an excellent warrior, but very compassionate, Nausicaa, Princess of the Valley of the Wind, is the star of this film which, despite being released in 1984, is still relevant for its futuristic and post-apocalyptic vision. Nausicaa, who feels great love and respect for the creatures remaining on Earth, will try to prevent a huge massacre between man and nature. This movie is the precursor of the Ghibli animation studio and had a major influence on the films in the first positions of this top. Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind will let you enjoy a film faithful to its original essence, since Hayao Miyazaki, creator of the manga, directed this movie. Here you'll also find adrenaline and survival to the max through incredible landscapes. If you want to explore more of Nausicaa's amazing world, I recommend you take a look at the manga. Fun fact, the attack scene of the God Warrior was animated by Hideaki Anno, the director of the next movie. Number 9. Neon Genesis Evangelion: The End of Evangelion. If you understood the grand finale of Neon Genesis Evangelion, let me tell you that there's nothing difficult for you in this world.
おめでとう。
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 めでたいな。
Well, irony aside, this movie delivers the ending that Neon Genesis Evangelion fans expected and deserved. Its plot is a Russian roulette of emotions as you discover the end of each character and where Shinji will be pushed to the limit, taking the fate of humanity in his hands. It's so complex that it led to several theories about why did Misato kiss Shinji, or why did Shinji strangle Asuka? But remember that Hideaki Anno himself said it was free for interpretation. This film, which begins with the scene I can't show you, has won awards such as the 1997 Animage Anime Grand Prix, and in 2014, Time Out New York magazine deemed The End of Evangelion one of the 100 best animated films of all time. Oh, mind you, you must have watched the animated series to enjoy 100% of all these emotions.
Do you understand?
Number 8. Wolf Children. Looking for a movie with a touch of romance without the typical cheesiness, but with a bit of drama to make you feel alive? Well, Wolf Children offers you much more than that. Two half-wolf, half-human children who live with their mother try to find their place between the wild and ordinary life with other kids their age. So, the big question will be, to live as humans or as wolves? Meanwhile, they'll have great adventures in the forest and at school, enjoying the best of both worlds. In 2012, it was recognized as the best animated film by the Japan Academy Prize. Plus, Wolf Children was the second highest grossing film in Japan on its first weekend of release in 2012, beating Pixar's animation, Brave. The details in the animation have also been praised, so when you watch it, try to pay attention to the textures and shapes of the objects. You'll be surprised. Number 7. Howl's Moving Castle. One of Miyazaki's favorite creations. This time he brought to life the novel by British writer Diana Wynne Jones. This is a beautiful story of love and magic inspired by late 19th century Europe with a modern touch. Are you worried about getting old? Well, at an important moment in her life, Sophie falls victim to a curse that makes her look like an old woman. So she sets out on an adventure seeking the help of the wizard Howl, only to be surprised to find out that compassion is the key. Here, the director was able to depict his distaste for the war and the 2003 invasion of Iraq, but also very complex and beautiful concepts such as loyalty, internal change, and how this is shown externally. With Howl's Moving Castle, you'll enjoy a fairy tale ending, but without leaving aside terrifying touches during its plot. All this while you delight yourself with beautiful landscapes inspired by the Lepontine Alps and the cantons of Valais, Ticino, and Grisons in Switzerland. Number 6. A Silent Voice. If you have a fascination for deep melodramas, I recommend this movie. And although it tries to summarize Yoshitoki Oima's eponymous manga in 2 hours and 10 minutes, it maintains and thoroughly exposes the emotional and psychological background of its characters so that you can connect with them. A Silent Voice shows you the perspective of Nishimiya, a hearing-impaired elementary school student who leaves the school due to bullying, and Ishida, who you'll see undergo an emotional metamorphosis from a bully to a repentant and compassionate teenager. This film doesn't have the Western narrative you may be used to, so be prepared for many twists and turns in the story with themes of bullying, regret, friendship, and love. Not to mention its details in the animation. It's fantastic, especially the realistic scenery that emulates natural beauty. Number 5. Princess Mononoke. Studio Ghibli once again surprised everyone in movie theaters with this story of survival, destruction of nature, and fascinating Japanese mythology. Ashitaka is stricken by a terrible curse that will take over his entire body until it kills him, so he sets out on a journey to the forests of the West to find the cure. During his quest, he's embroiled in the middle of a relentless war between humans and nature. That's when he meets the brave San, who despises humans and will fight fiercely to protect the forest. Ashitaka will be forced to intervene before both sides succumb to corruption and ambition. Whose side would you be on? Princess Mononoke has one of the highest ratings from the audience and ranked first for the highest grossing films in Japanese history, until 2001 when another of the films in this top was released, but you'll find out more about that later. Number 4. My Neighbor Totoro. It marked history in Japanese animation and Studio Ghibli itself, as one of its characters became the very logo of the studio. My Neighbor Totoro will make you remember the sweetest part of your childhood and that tireless curiosity for what surrounds you. Thus, the sisters Satsuki and Mei will have big surprises while discovering the magic of the forest spirits. It doesn't have an intricate plot or ending, but it's precisely that and its brilliant storytelling that makes it a movie to enjoy at any time and will leave you with a pleasant aftertaste. My Neighbor Totoro won the Anamage Anime Grand Prix prize for Best Film and was chosen by British magazine Time Out as the best animated film ever. Something that surprised me when I looked up more about this movie is that when director Hayao Miyazaki and his siblings were children, their mother suffered from spinal tuberculosis and spent quite some time hospitalized like the mom of these two little girls. Number 3. Your Name. The typical cheesy love story between two teenagers? No, this plot is quite tangled and intertwined, so much so that even the protagonists themselves swap bodies. Here, two teenagers have to defy time, space, and overcome an apocalyptic event to be together. Mitsuha is a girl dissatisfied with life in the countryside and dreams of a glamorous life in the city, while Taki is a very creative boy with a hectic life in the modern city of Tokyo. Your Name received high praise for its animation quality, music, and beautiful inspiration from real places in Japan. This realism is precisely what immerses you in the story, maximizing the experience in theaters. That's why Your Name became the third highest grossing anime film of all time in 2016. Currently, a live-action remake is being produced by Paramount Pictures set in the United States. But I'm not so sure. Do you think it could be a real hit? Number 2. Grave of the Fireflies. This film will squeeze your heart and you'll shed at least one tear. Once again, war inspires an endearing movie. And brace yourself, because this is a plot only for the strongest. Seita, a boy of only 14 years old, will try to survive the horrors of World War II, facing scarcity, famine, and death while caring for his little sister, who's only 4 years old. Grave of the Fireflies stands out for its realism, and what makes it even more heartbreaking is the fact that it's based on the eponymous story by Arthur Akiyuki Nosaka, inspired by his own experiences during the war where he lost his younger sister. Although it's considered by many as one of the best anti-war films, director Isao Takahata actually wanted to show a simple yet deep story about two children who believed they'd survive on their own. Is it already in your collection? Now it's time for the big winner. This movie broke several records and is the most successful film in the history of Japan. Number 1. Spirited Away. For the people who used to be 10 years old and the people who are going to be 10 years old. With these words, Hayao Miyazaki presented this film in 2001, which marked his great return to animation after announcing his retirement with Princess Mononoke. The main character of Spirited Away has no superhuman strength, no magic powers, overcomes all obstacles using her wisdom and discovering the maturity within herself. 10-year-old Chihiro is trapped in a supernatural world and must work in a bathhouse to survive. All kinds of gods come to rest and relax here, because of course, being a god must be very tiring. However, Chihiro won't settle for her fate and will seek, at all costs, a way to return to her life and get her parents back to normal, who are now pigs. Spirited Away is the only animated film to win an Oscar and the Golden Bear to date. It has certainly set the bar high. If any of these are your favorite, let me know in the comments. Subscribe and turn on the bell. See you in the next video.